We're here today with Nancy Harris, who is the GM and VP of Simply Accounting, which is a Sage company, with Nancy Harris.
Hi Robert, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So before we get into talking about the product and all the new branding that you've been doing and stuff like that, give me an overview. Like, who would want to use this product and why would they want to use it?
Sure, so the target segment for Sage 50 Canadian Edition is really the small business. And it's geared towards small businesses with anywhere from 1 to 99 employees. And we provide full accounting solution to help them manage their business and run all their back office operations.
So most of the time when we see accounting products brought into Canada, they aren't really Canadian. How is Sage different?
Sage is different in that the product, which you mentioned was formerly Sage Simply Accounting, now Sage 50 Canadian Edition, is actually Canadian developed, Canadian supported, and fully bilingual in French and English. So we're unique in the marketplace in that regard. It all starts in Canada and all finishes in Canada in terms of supporting the customer.
And the nice thing about Sage, I've known Sage we were just talking about that, probably about 30 years. And the nice thing that they always do is when they buy companies and when they do things, it's almost always have local people doing the local programs.
True, that's still true today. So we have a very large campus in Richmond, British Columbia. All the folks there are from the Canadian office, and those are the folks that provide both the development of the product and then the support of the product. So it started in Canada and it's still here today.
Yeah. Like when I think of Sage, I think of a whole bunch of little clusters all over the world, as opposed to one big, huge company, which I guess you have about 13 or 14,000 employees now.
True, that's true. And one of the things that you'll see and has been in the media a lot lately is that we are moving toward building a dominant master brand in Sage. So where we had all those individual product lines in the past, we're now really aggregating those under one umbrella of Sage, and therein lies this new branding of Sage 50 Canadian Edition, and that's consistent with the branding strategy across Sage at this time.
Yeah, which is kind of neat because for years and years when I would go and anybody else would go there, you wouldn't know which products are Sage or how they link together or anything. And
exactly.
Now it's becoming a cohesive company.
Exactly. You exactly hit on the strategy. So it's designed to really help customers figure out what product is best for them. So we have a numbering scheme, Sage 1, Sage 100, 500, Sage 50, as we mentioned, and that allows a customer to determine what product best suits their needs, and it's built around the target market segment, be it micro businesses for Sage 1 or small businesses for Sage 50.
Sounds pretty simple. So the branding strategy, we're starting to get into it, so let's go into that part of it. What is the whole idea of why you're doing this new branding?
Well, as you mentioned, we had our branding spread out over several different point products in our past, those that we had acquired in their local markets, and they each had an individual brand. And the new strategy is built around aggregating those products into one family, as you're suggesting, and really make it easier for the customer to decide what product's best for them. And ultimately, we'd like to build a brand that small, medium businesses really identify with and see us as the supporter of small business that gives them the opportunity to succeed.
Okay, so now let's go into the product itself, because Sage is, it's funny, people know because of the way they grow, and they know Microsoft, they know, all the other big software companies, but I think you're the second or third largest, you're third largest, right?
Correct.
Software company in the world.
Correct, behind, yeah. Right, correct.
Which, if I went on the street and I said to 1,000 people, who do you think are the top three? I don't think, I would be surprised if 5% of them would put you in there.
Well, I think you're on a very good point, which is back to that's part of the branding, exactly, and investing our money in building that brand in Sage, and again, having an emotional connection. We hope ultimately the customers that will have that relative to the Sage brand being that provider of solutions for small businesses, and really identifying with that and having almost an emotional connection to the Sage brand.
Okay, so tell me about the Sage 50. Tell me what the product is, but more, and what are the new assets to it?
Okay, so we're launching as of October 1st. We just launched Sage 50 Canadian Edition, and it's 2013. And inside of 2013, we have a number of categories of enhancements that we've done. We've enhanced the payroll piece of the application. We've significantly enhanced our reporting capabilities for the product, and we've also made it much easier to install. So we have several different things that we've done this year.
Yeah. And the typical person who will use it. So you talked about 1 to 99 people.
Mm-hmm.
Is it all industries?
It is across industries. There's some industry segments that we do see patterns to being successful in certain segments more than others, but it is across industry. And I think the important thing is, it's a good small business product in that you can have a small business owner with very few employees be able to use the product, or it can range up and they would likely use our payroll module as an example to pay once they get above a certain number of employees.
And the product, I assume, is pretty inexpensive?
It is inexpensive. We have several different, we call them different SKUs, if you will, in the portfolio. So we have first step. So the very first product, as you're starting out, you need some basic accounting capabilities. That's only $99 to start. And it ranges up to a quantum product that's for companies that have things like more inventory needs, much more complex, if you will, accounting needs. And the quantum product is around the $2,500 mark.
Terrific. People want it. How do they get the product?
Okay, so you can buy the product either through our retailers. So we have a number of retail partners, or you can also buy the product direct from Sage, either from our sales force or you can buy it online from Sage.
Terrific. Nancy, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks so much, Robert.